back to Majestic Mayhem, and it's going to be slightly different tonight. And those of you who've been around last year, you will recognize I am in a car. I am on my way home from our last haunted trail for the Halloween season. So please excuse the noise and any technical difficulties I might have on my end. But I'm Death Stealer.
And I'm Pink Pickles.
And well, what have you been up to all week, Miss Pink Pickles?
I've been playing Black Ops all week. And it's funny because I don't even like shooting games, but I'm having so much fun. But we play in private groups so we could just have fun and not get demolished by some little 10-year-old European kid who's trash talking us. But then you don't level up. So on my own, I'm trying to level up. Like Perry woke up this morning and I wasn't there, and he comes into the room and here I am playing Black Ops because it was double XP this weekend. So yes, I am on a roll.
Nice. I'm jealous. I haven't been
Yes.
able to play video games in like 2 months.
No, I haven't played a lot, but we've been playing a whole lot of Black Ops, and then on Halloween itself, we watched a whole bunch of movies, Halloween themed movies, but we made a point to watch movies that we had never seen before.
Oh, that's
So
nice. That's
yeah,
really
so
cool.
yeah, so that was good. So we watched like 3 or 4 movies in total.
So, what's your out of the new ones that you watched? What's one you really enjoyed?
Okay, I can't even tell you. This was 3 days ago. I can't even tell you what we watched. So, I got a whole lot. Some of them were good. Some of them were not so good. Okay. So we watched From Hell, which is a Johnny Depp, Heather Graham movie. And I was so excited because they're looking for Jack the Ripper. So it was totally a bootleg Sherlock Holmes. But it was just really weird, and I didn't really understand what was happening. Even though I know the whole story ahead of time, it was just kind of weird. So it wasn't bad, wasn't good in the middle. We watched Texas Chainsaw, but I'd have to look up what year it's from. It was like 2013, maybe. So it was a direct sequel to the original. It ignored any other one that came out. And I don't want to spoil it if no one's seen it, but it was I liked it. I thought it was a good take on the characters and how you feel about all the characters. So I thought I enjoyed watching that one. We watched When a Stranger Calls, which was, I don't know. You watch the entire movie and like you know what's going to happen, and like you watch the whole movie for like 10 minutes of payoff.
But see, did
And
you watch the original When a Stranger Calls?
no.
You watched
No,
the
the one we
remake
watched,
of
yeah, whatever one we watched, she had a flip phone. So whatever this for the early
it.
2000s.
Okay. So I know which one you watch. Okay, that one is terrible. When a stranger, that one's. I mean, don't get me wrong. The original When a Stranger Calls isn't the best, but it's better.
I thought of you when I was watching it though, because you hate paranormal activity because you're like, well, this is easily explained. So we're watching the movie and she's getting so freaked out, and it was just the ice falling out of the ice maker, or all the things she's getting freaked out about were just normal noises that you hear in a house. And I thought of you and I was like, this is exactly why she probably would hate this movie. Yeah.
That is one of the movies that
Yeah.
just irked me to no end because I was like, seriously, this is just no. Yeah, no, I can. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if it's one of the 2000s ones, I'm not there. There were a few that came out around then. If it's the one with Jessica Biel, with Jessica
No.
Biel in it, no,
Nope.
okay.
It was before that one.
Wait, is
I
it the one
believe.
where you see the birth of Leatherface?
No, but I totally want to see that one now. Hold on.
It's not
Oh,
great.
it was in 3D. So it came out in 2013. It was in 3D.
Oh, okay. I know which one you're talking about. Not bad. Not one of the bad ones. That one's not too bad. No, there
Yeah.
is a Texas Chainsaw like the beginning or something, and they show like Leatherface being born, and it's just they set it up to where you see him grow up as like a preteen and a teenager and stuff, and the guy the big boy you're watching expecting to turn into Leatherface
Yeah.
because he's built like what you would expect Leatherface as a child to be built like. That's not Leatherface. Instead, it ends up to be some scrawny, like 5 pound kid. And it's like, I'm not, you just lost. I have no belief in this whatsoever. There is absolutely no way this scrawny 5 foot nothing kid is going to turn
Yeah.
into this
Yeah, this
300
huge guy.
pounds, 7 foot tall beast. Not
Yeah.
buying it, folks.
Yeah. I mean, Leatherface 3D did have crappy CGI. Some of the stuff was really hokey, but like I said, I just thought it was an interesting take on how they portray all the characters and who you end up rooting for and who you don't root for. And I just thought it was a good take. And I didn't realize this in 3D. So at one point, the guy throws the chainsaw, and I was like, that's weird. And the person's like, oh, that's right. It's in 3D. That's why he threw it. I was like, okay, now I see. Like, it was just so out of place when it happened. But
Now, see, what you need to do is you got Harry, sir, I'm talking to you. You need to find the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey in it and make her
okay.
watch it. It is gloriously terrible. It is absolutely, it's like one of the worst Chainsaw movies, but it is so comically bad. Like, Matthew McConaughey is one of the family members of Leatherface,
Mm-hmm.
and he jumps out of a window to try and chase it. And it's just the whole thing's just glorious. Leatherface dresses as a woman, and it is just it's so gloriously bad. And I can almost guarantee you've seen the Leatherface costume that he wears in that, or at least the face.
That's when I play Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game. That's my Leatherface in the woman's suit with the makeup.
It's from
That's
that movie. It
okay.
is so gloriously bad. And fun fact for those of you that don't know, um, Matthew McConaughey, after he started getting a name for himself, actually went and sued the studio, so he is not allowed to be advertised
Really?
they wanted his
It was that
name
bad?
removed from the movie cover and everything because he's embarrassed by it. I'm like, Brady, we still know it was you. We
Yeah.
know we can't deny it was you. I don't know why you're upset. I mean, gloriously bad, but he's Matthew McConaughey in it. Like,
See, I love movies that are that bad. They end up just being funny. I love watching just the cheesiest movies. So I'm definitely gonna watch that one.
you like it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's interestingly bad.
So what were you up to all week, and what did you end up deciding for your Halloween costume?
Well, I ended up because for my Halloween costume, take Tiny Giant trick or treating. We'd actually decided as a family as to go as movie serial killers. Tiny Giant was Jason Voorhees. Dreadpool was Michael Myers. Well, a version of Michael Myers. And I was actually going to be Ghostface. Surprisingly enough, every single Ghostface costume in my area was completely sold out. Like all of them were gone. I have no idea when it happened, but there wasn't you couldn't even find a mask. The
Yeah.
only Ghostface masks I could find were the plastic ones that don't like bend or you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
Ghostface mask. If anyone's ever worn one, they actually kind of like because there's a hood on it, so it kind of it kind of bends a little to your face, and it's a little more it's like a latex mask almost. But those plastic ones, they are not comfortable. They are very hot. They stink like plastic. Yeah. So I ended up not being Ghostface. I ended up dressing as a victim
Okay.
for my serial killers. Um, someone's not everybody can pull it off, but I looked like a real good victim for the evening. It worked well. Good times though. Started breaking down our trail. Our last weekend was last. Our last night was last weekend, so that
Mhm.
was. So I've been doing that. I'm hoping in the next week or two. Well, not this week, but next week. I'm hoping I'll be able to play some video games again. Oh, there's Dreadful actually, and Tiny Giant actually got me a Halloween set that I was so happy. It finally came in today, so I got to open it today. It was a
Mhm.
belated birthday gift, and it has a Halloween game on it
Huh,
for the Xbox, and it has an Ash versus Evil Dead on there as well.
oh,
So
that's
that's the
cool.
video game. Yeah, it was the Halloween retro Elms, but it came with a figurine, a poster, the video games. I'm just excited. Those are the games I'm going to be playing first.
Nice.
So I don't know if I'll be playing them online because I don't know. I don't know anything about the games yet, but I'm excited to play those. They're my favorite because if you guys have been following along, Michael Myers, while I know he's got a lot of bad movies, he is my favorite. I don't know why, but he's my favorite. So I'm excited to play Michael Myers in a video game, in his own video game, I should say. I've played Michael before, but in his own game, it'll be nice.
Yeah,
I'm very much looking forward to that.
I know because now you'll have some free time coming up. A little bit until spring, I guess, when you start preparing again. But
Actually, we've already started preparing for next year. We've already started Mom and I have already started plotting and discussing next year.
do you have your theme picked out already, or are you still throwing around ideas to pick one?
We're still throwing ideas on a theme. However, we're kind of really considering one theme in
Okay.
particular. And I'm not even going to lie, the idea of it just really entertains me. I'm just not sure if other people are going to find it as entertaining as me.
Mhm.
Um, we'll see though. I might
Yep.
take a poll later. I'm not ready to tell everybody just yet. We might take a poll later and I might release that better later, but I'm on the fence. We've got a few that we're really looking into, but there's one in particular I'm like, I really might like to do that one. Might just be a little too easy, and I feel like I want to do something very different. Very, very different. So we'll see what happens. All I know is not many people will be surviving. So that's the bonus point, right? I mean, hey,
Yeah.
can't go wrong there.
So how long do you normally spend? Like, there's a lot of brainstorming, but once you start doing actual work with like gathering supplies and plotting things out, how long do you spend leading up to Halloween doing all of that?
Well, we plot and make props in some of the costumes. We spend a portion of the year doing that, depending on what we're making and what we're doing. We'll spend months upon months making things because some things take, because we don't necessarily, I don't work on, let's say I'm doing a 5 foot by 5 foot wall. I'm not going to spend, 8 hours a day working on that. That's a bit much considering I've got a billion other things I've got to do because I am still a
Yeah.
mom and a wife. But I'll spend, 2 or 3 hours a day working on it. So that project could take me anywhere from, 2 weeks to a couple of months. It just depends on how elaborate the props are and the costumes are.
Yep.
But as far as setting up the trail itself, I can set a trail up. I prefer to do it within 2 weeks. I prefer to have
Okay.
2 weeks because I take about 3 to 4 hours a day to do it.
Yep.
And I only work Monday through Friday. So, but I have actually put up a trail in 8 hours.
Wow.
I had it completely done from top to bottom in 8 hours. So I can do it in a very short period of time. I prefer not to.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't have to, I don't wanna.
that sounds like it would be horrible because it would be like 8 hours nonstop, go go go, trying to set all up. That sounds like that would be not fun at all.
And that's pretty much what it is. And, years when mom and I first started doing this, most of the time when it came to setting up, it was just mom and I. And we might have one of, dad or, Dread out there to help us do some of the bigger stuff, like moving the 100-pound statue or whatever. For the most part, it's mom and I doing it. Well, the last 2 years we've had random friends who want to come out and help us volunteer to set up. I love them. God knows I love them. I appreciate the help. I really truly do, but it takes me 3 times as long when I have other people helping,
Yeah.
because mom and I have a system. We know what we're doing. We've got it, we don't have to even really talk. We just look and we know what we're doing. Whereas when we've got other people helping, we have to stop because they need directions.
Yeah.
Sometimes they need step-by-step directions. Sometimes they need supervision. I've made the mistake of allowing somebody to go off with a nail gun and they put 64 staples in a table that should have only
What?
had maybe 8. I mean, and I wish I could say it was a child, but it was an adult. And it's not like they got brain cells. It's just, not everybody
Yeah.
knows what they're doing. Everybody's trying. So sometimes it's easier for
Yeah.
me and mom to do it alone.
It is. Sometimes it's easier to just do it yourself, but
Yes, yes. Like most women say, if you want it done right, do it yourself.
yep.
And yeah, unfortunately, yeah. But I do enjoy the help. I would never tell one of them they
Yeah.
can't help us. It just takes longer that way. It just depends if I have
Yeah.
help that day or not.
Uh,
Good
well, good.
times, good times.
So just so you know, in the chat, we've got obviously Dread's in the chat, Perry's in the chat, RWK joined, it's Timmy joined. So
Well, hi everybody. I'm on my phone, so I can't see the chats that well.
yes.
Hi. Hey,
So
if
just
you
trying
guys
to get
noticing,
it all out. She'll never see what you write. I won't read it out loud. Don't get air your grievances. Get it all out in the open.
hey, you guys have had time to think of some good insults. If you're going to insult me,
Yeah.
make it interesting, please. Hi, Timmy. I'm looking at Dread's phone now, so I
Okay.
say, hi, Timmy. Yeah, the fourth horse, of course, the fourth horseman's happy. Dealt quite a lot, actually. Got some reaping done. Wonderful, wonderful. I also had the instance to show someone that they should not be talking to death. Um, he won't be making that mistake again. It's not dreadful, don't worry. He's still alive and well for the time being. But everything's been going good. Hope everything's going with you, Timmy. But we were going to be discussing movies tonight. Movies we think that deserve remakes, sequels, or entire redos because they messed up the premise altogether. We all know I got some of those already locked and loaded. So well, let's let Pinky go first with her first one because yeah, I got too many to choose from. I'm just gonna start thinking of which one I want to take a crap on first.
Okay. So the first one I want is because every Halloween we either watch the full movie, or if we don't watch the full movie, we watch the fight scene at the end, is the Freddy vs. Jason movie. And I have mixed feelings about the movie as a whole. I don't think it's horrible, but I think they could have done better. Um, But I just wish that we would explore Freddy and Jason fighting each other more. And I want more movies. They don't necessarily need to redo that movie, but you could give me more, especially because they left it open ended. And that's really what I want. And I think that both franchises, I would actually love more movies in both franchises. Again, they have good movies, they have bad movies. I don't know, just stick to the basics, stick to what we love, but let's get more Freddy vs. Jason. I want to see them battle it out. Although I guess it is a little difficult because you really can't, you don't want to have somebody win because then you kind of end it. You need to keep leaving it open ended, but I think they could go a few more movies and still have it be good. So that's my number one that I want something more of.
I agree with you on that one. Freddy versus Jason absolutely could have done better. See, my biggest beef with Freddy versus Jason, there wasn't enough Freddy and Jason. I feel like we dealt with the idiot teenagers for far too long.
Yes.
And the storyline of the guy going to the insane asylum as a child and the girl just like, I'm sorry, but the final girl, I wanted her to die so bad. First of all, there ain't no way that woman was, ma'am, we know you're like damn near 40. We are not buying that you were in high school, okay? Kelly Rowland, sweetheart, we watched you grow up. We know you are way too old to, not to mention most of your lines were just janky and dumb as all get out. I mean,
she's not a good actress. Stick to singing.
I don't even know because I've never really seen her in too much. This is the only movie that I can honestly say I remember seeing her in. And I wouldn't necessarily even say that she was bad. The writing was bad. Her character was written just terribly. I didn't like any of them. I just
think that she's stiff, and I've seen a lot of other people do this too. That like you can't move your head because your hair is going to get messed up, and like you need to make sure you have the right angle on your face. So then everything you do is just so stiff and mechanical, and you're not just acting. And I feel like she kind of does that. If she just loosened up a little bit, she'd be a million times better. But you're right. She had very bad lines written for her. So there really was no hope, even if she loosened up.
I mean, that whole come and get it. Really, dude?
Yeah.
And then you were picking on the one nerdy guy the whole time. And now that he's bleeding and dying out, you're going to be like, oh no, please don't. It's going to be okay. And then instead of going and getting the kid help like you said you were going to, you turn around and go in. So, I mean, granted, the kid was already dead when she walked away, but that's not the point. The point is you were in the thought process of you might go help save somebody, and instead of saving somebody, you turn around and go, Kat, why would you antagonize two serial killers like that? Two unkillable serial killers like that? I know you didn't think you were going to win. I know you didn't think you were going to win. I mean, you just watched almost all your friends get slaughtered. Yeah, they could redo that one and give us less teenagers. And, well, I'm not even saying that's less teenagers. I'd like more teenage kills. Like the party scene with Jason, perfect. Awesome. I want more of that sort of thing. The kid sitting on the porch and losing his head. I'll take more of that stuff. I'm tired of the whole beep, 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 beep. We already know Freddy's not a great person. We already know Jason's urban legend. I just want to see people die.
Exactly. You don't need to give me the lore behind all of it. We get it.
It's Freddy versus Jason, for crying out loud. I'm almost positive anyone that watched Freddy versus Jason watched Friday the 13th and has watched Nightmare on Elm Street. We don't need it. Stop with the reminding us of how many times their backstories. We don't need it anymore. Take notes. All of you movies that continue running the same, we don't need to know over and over again. Sometimes it's unnecessary. I just want to see people. I'm going to see a Jason movie. I'm going to watch people die in the woods.
Yep.
If I'm going to see a Freddy movie, I'm watching people die in their sleep and with him do his funny one-liners. Because the remake dropped the ball on that one. Could have
Yeah.
been better. I think what made a one. There were a few things wrong with the remake. That's my pick.
Wasn't a big fan either, but
We'll start with Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake. One, turning him into it, completely saying that he was a pedophile. Completely unnecessary for the character, as far as I'm
yeah.
concerned. I can appreciate that it was an original. It was originally supposed to be part of the storyline for the original movie from Wes Craven, but there's a reason they dropped it. It's completely unnecessary. Somebody hit a deer and it was in the road.
As long as somebody wasn't you guys.
We didn't hit it.
Yeah.
But it was in the. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. Anyway, okay. Now that we've had our excitement over here.
Get your heart rate up a little bit.
Okay, so I can appreciate the fact that in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger was supposed to be a pedophile. They changed it to just him being a child murderer because that in itself, torture and murder, child torture and murder, is plenty despicable as it is.
Yep.
Absolutely despicable. And they also did it because of some of the news issues that happened around before the movie was released. It's also why they changed it. I think it was an unnecessary thing for them to add to the remake. I felt it was completely unnecessary. I no longer saw him as this horrifying, disturbing person so much as I found him as just a disgusting perv.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was no longer that. Because when you hear that he's torturing and murdering, you're like, oh, that's a real messed up individual. There's something wrong there. Don't get me wrong, pedophiles are obviously completely terrible, horrible people, and there's obviously something wrong there, but it's a different, you know what I mean? It's a lot different in that aspect. So I feel that them changing that was completely unnecessary. And then they took out all the one-liners and any jokes that Freddy Krueger would have made. I found that to be, they took part of the character away. Part of what made Freddy was the fact that he had one-liners. Welcome to prime time, bitch. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the most famous lines from any of the movies, and that's from, like, what, the fourth movie, I think?
Yeah. See, that's, that's my complaint about a lot of movies is there's certain movies that you could just keep the core storyline and make it your own version of it. But then there's other movies that it's like, no, this is an established franchise, an established character. You can't change it. If you're going to remake it, you can't completely put your own spin on it. You can't do it because we have Freddy. We like Freddy. We love Freddy. He is who he is. You can't just reinvent a new Freddy. Make a new character at that point. And I think even outside of horror, just so many movies run into that. And then they get mad. Oh, why does no one want to watch my sequel? No, because you screwed it up. You did it the wrong way. If you would have done it the right way, we'd all be happy. But yeah, certain movies you can completely redo. Other movies, no. Don't mess with who we love.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, well, I could get going, but I'll let you get to your second movie because there's another one there's a few more that tie into my movies, but I'll let you get to yours because I could just keep rambling about how unhappy I am with some of these brands.
So this one, I don't know, you might find this controversial. I'm not sure. I have a movie that I want a modern remake of. I think that you can take it, you can make it new. Let's bring it up to the 2020s, and I want to see what you could do with it. I want to see a modern take on Carrie.
See, they've redone Carrie a couple of times, and the latest one was with Chloe something or another.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I had no clue that they remade one with her.
Yeah, my beef with it is and this is my beef with a lot of the remakes. Okay, while the effects are obviously so much better, don't get me wrong, the gym scenes are usually much more elaborate and things. However, the original was Sissy Spacek. She looks the part. You feel bad for her character. She looks like the homely, nerdy girl that everyone picks on. And the ones they chose to star for the remakes, I'm sorry, they're too pretty. Like that chick, Chloe,
Yeah, I know. Yes, I know
whatever her
exactly who
name
you
is.
mean. Yeah, you can't pick a cool girl to be the character.
No, she's too pretty. As soon as I tried watching it, and I'm watching it, and they're picking on her, and I'm like, seriously? If that girl was in high school with me, now granted I'm a bit older, but still, if she were in high school when I was in high school, she would have been prom queen, no problem. She would have been dating, the most popular guys in school. She would have had all the friends. Sweetheart, I'm not buying that you are a loner and that nobody likes you and that your world, you know what I mean? And that's my problem with, and I don't, they are going to be doing a Carrie TV show, as a matter of fact. They're going to do a
Okay,
drama series. I don't know.
I don't like that. How are you gonna make a whole series out of it?
I heard that it's not just going to be the movie, it's going to actually start like with her home life and then work its way up to that. Because
Mm,
I said the same thing. I was like,
okay.
that movie's almost too long. I mean, let's be honest. I love Carrie, but the movie's almost too long. There could have been a few scenes cut from that we would have all been okay with. Um, so I don't know how they're going to do a TV series on it. I don't think it's going to be what a lot of people are expecting. I think
Yeah.
it's more or less going to be Carrie's mom losing her mind and that sort of thing. I interested? Not really. I never watched the TV show for Interview with Vampire just because I have no interest in it.
Yep.
I didn't see how they were going to turn it into a TV show because I know they weren't going to be running through all of Anne Rice's books. They can't. If anyone's ever read any of Anne Rice's books, there's a lot of things they can't be putting on TV no matter how open-minded people are nowadays. They will lose their mind because, I mean, but from what I even saw from the Interview with the Vampire TV show, they messed it up. Even that, they made characters a certain persuasion when that wasn't necessarily the case. They were more fluid. You know,
Yep.
well, um,
See, I just have it in my head that you could do like Perry says Carrie with iPhones would be horrible, but see, this is why I don't think it would be horrible though, because I think that you need to keep it simple, like the original movie was. You need to keep not that Sissy Spacek was ugly, but just homely and plain. You need somebody who's plain, right? But I just feel like now with technology, the way that they could torment her, it's more than just she goes to school and she's the outcast. Like there's so many more ways that you could kind of bring more to the story. I guess that's kind of what my thought process is. And I know that it would be difficult, and it's probably one of those ones that they'd make it like you'd have to get like 3 different remakes before you're like, okay, this one's pretty good. But I'm not gonna watch the TV show though. That doesn't really interest me.
no, I mean, your idea is much better than what they said. And I mean, and as far as Sissy Spacek goes, even back when she made Carrie, she was a beautiful young lady.
Mhm.
She's got a very unique look to her, and she is very pretty when she's dolled up and
Yeah.
things. Just like with any woman. Pretty much any woman can look homely without makeup on. You put them in a nice outfit, get their hair nice, get some nice jewelry or whatever. They can look phenomenal. And Sissy Spacek is one of those women who she can look very homely when she
Yeah.
needs to, but she can also look very glamorous when she needs to. And they need to find like Charlize Theron when she did Monster. That did not look
Oh
like her
yeah,
in
she's like a
any
different
way.
person. Yeah.
She looked, I mean, she was hideous in that
Yes.
movie.
She's like a
She knew
monster.
that was her whole thing. She was meant to be, she didn't want
Yeah.
to look like her, and she pulled it off beautifully. She's done a few roles like that where she's not the pretty one and she pulls it off real well. And that's what I want from the character, whoever wants to play Carrie. You don't
Yeah.
have to be homely. You don't have to be ugly, honey. You just need to
Be
dress
plain.
down and make
Yep.
it look like I want to see some bags or, I mean, some
Mhm.
acne or some greasy hair, some lifeless
Ah,
greasy hair. Because
yep.
we've all got those days. Men have terrible bad days where they're like, oh God. So we can do those, honey. Do it. Don't wash your face for a few days or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
give me something. It's just like when they did the movie She's All That. The girl from the original She's All That. The only thing that made her goofy was some painted overalls and a pair of
I
glasses
was
and
gonna
her
say
hair up.
she put contacts in, and all of a sudden she's like the cool chick.
Yeah, and she was pretty. And it was like, even that, when I was a kid watching that, I was like, really? That's your ugly? If that's ugly, holy cow, am I
Yeah.
idiot?
Yeah.
Because, my God,
And now, if you wanted to
and
buy overalls with paint on them, they'd probably be like $500 overalls,
oh, they
right?
absolutely would. Absolutely. Yeah, it's trying to buy overalls these days is ridiculous. You got a better shot of trying to find like a pair of Jankos from the 90s.
Yeah.
Much easier that way. So, all right, well, I guess I will roll into my next one.
Okay.
My next one was that I had another issue. Cabin Fever, the remake. It was the exact same movie with new actors. They took out the little bit of comic relief that there was in there and just released it and was like, here, enjoy it. But the worst part was is the actors they hired weren't even like redeemable in any way, shape, or form. When you watch the original Cabin Fever, the characters aren't necessarily always likable, but they're more realistic.
Hmm.
You know, the problems with the friend group, it's more realistic. They're not exactly just, well, the one guy is just a dick, but that's you
This
gotta
character.
have one in every group. But the other characters were all, realistic and stuff. And then they had a cop that came on. He was a younger cop. He was supposed to be like a burnout. And he did this like whole comic relief joke thing with them for a little while and stuff. That character's not in the remake at all, but everything else is a shot for shot remake with these characters that have no redeeming qualities whatsoever. I don't know what it is with these new movies. Why are they making everyone so unlikable? I get that we don't want like that we're supposed to want to cheer for them to not live, but for crying out loud, people are not that terrible on a day-to-day basis. I mean, come on, especially when you're
So,
going out with your friends for vacation.
so you actually may be in the minority in how you feel about this, because when I was looking up movies before, I saw tons of people talk about this movie and how much they liked it and how they wanted a sequel. And I was like, and I thought I saw this movie, but then when I was looking up some of the pictures, I was like, oh, wait, I have not seen this movie. I saw something else with some of the similar characters in it. But yeah, people absolutely love it. And they all want a sequel to it.
Okay, fun thing. The original from 2000 and whatever it was actually does have a sequel, and the sequel is pretty entertaining, believe it or not. The sequel, it's different because it takes place at a school in a town and stuff. Because in the end of the movie, you see that the last guy contaminates the water source, and you should see the water truck driving away with the spring water.
Mhm.
And it actually takes place where it shows the spring water being delivered to the town and it's flipped to the prom. And it's actually it's wild. The whole movie is just wild, but it's actually a pretty good sequel for what it is.
So,
And if you can stomach a bunch of high schoolers being the ones to go this time, it's worth it. It's entertaining.
so if the remake though was just a scene for scene reshoot, basically, of the original, everyone who wants a remake, they could just do a scene for scene reshoot of the remake, right? Like, what an easy way to get money. Take the same movie and just redo it.
I honestly can't believe that because it's El Roth's movie. I can't believe he allowed it because, like I said, in my opinion, if you watch the original and then you watch the remake from Netflix, the original's much better. Like I said, there's a few moments. The original's the one that made me leave the theater and get sick because of the leg shaving scene. When I watched it in the remake, it didn't affect me whatsoever. It was not one of those. Is whenever as a woman you shave your legs, you cut yourself. Whenever you see someone doing on screen, you always kind of go. It's kind of men. For those of you that don't get it, it's kind of like when you see a guy get racked on the movie. You kind of just grab your jewels and go, ooh, yeah. Same thing for us ladies. We go ah. And watching the remake, it was not there for me. It did not hold any of the same effects for me. I thought it was just a really bad shot for shot remake. And like I said, they took out some of the better things, I thought. Now, everyone's wanting a sequel. There is a sequel. The sequel is pretty good. I don't know why more people, it seems to be most people don't know about the sequel.
Yeah.
Sequel's actually pretty good. Like I said, it takes place during a prom, I think. I'm pretty sure it's prom. And it's good. It's definitely, it answers more questions about what would happen if you had this flesh-eating disease and you go to have a good time. There's some moments that make you go, ooh, but there is a sequel, so people can stop asking for it, because if they do a shot-for-shot remake of the sequel and take out all the good parts of the sequel, I'm definitely writing Al Roth a letter for that one.
Okay, so my third one that I don't even know if it's considered a sequel. I want a continuation. This is a TV show. I want a continuation of The Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone, I think, was such a great concept, and I like all the little stories they did, and I just think that's something that's easy, that through every decade, with the different things going on in the world, the different technology that we have, the different knowledge we get of space and aliens and sci-fi stuff, I just think that it makes it easy that you could just keep on writing new great stories. So like I said, not a sequel. I just want a continuation. Just keep on making more episodes. I would love to see that.
I agree. I absolutely love the Twilight Zone TV show. I like the Twilight Zone movie. I feel like they really should bring back those shows. I feel like they should bring back the Twilight Zone, Tales from the Dark Side, The Outer Limits. Those were good shows, but I also kind of feel, on the other hand, I'm like, if you think about it, I don't know if you've watched any of the Black Mirror episodes.
No, I haven't.
Black Mirror kind of is a little like The Outer Limits / Twilight Zone. I think it's a much more modernized.
Okay.
I haven't watched all of the seasons. I watched, I believe, the first 2 seasons. I haven't been able to watch the third, or I don't know if they're on 4 yet or not, but I've only watched the first 2. And they were some really good episodes. I mean, extremely thought-provoking, and some of them were kind of gross. I'm not even gonna lie. A little gross. But it was good. And as far as another one would be is there's another one on Netflix called Sex, Love, and Robots.
Okay.
That's an anthology that's similar to like The Outer Limits and them. It's mostly computer generated shorts and stuff, and those are interesting too. I think you'd probably really get into those.
Okay.
So you have to check those out.
Frank said that Jordan Peele made some new Twilight Zone episodes a few years back, and they were pretty good. See, now I gotta go look for those. I didn't know that. Perry's got the Twilight Zone Blu-ray set that he's still ripping, so I'll have to go back and watch old ones. But if there's a few new ones, I want to see them.
Yeah, I was wrong. It's Death, Love, and Robots.
Okay.
Not Sex, Love. Hey, you know what? You know what I'm thinking about. It's fine.
Are we getting the thumbs up in the chat from Dread for that one? Oh, yes. We got a Skull Heart Robot.
Okay, all right. So I guess my time for the third one. My third, what I would really like to see them redo is I would like another Return of the Living Dead. Those movies were hysterical to me. I love them. The third one's is it the third one I'm thinking? Yeah, the third one's not great, but I would like to see some more of those, more like the original, the first one. I want one more like, I want a continuation of the first one, more or less, because those movies were so fun. Or I would also take them bringing back the TV show Z Nation. The last season was not great, but if they want to start from the season and continue it from before the last season, I'm all for it, because as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the best zombie TV shows to exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that as someone who adored The Walking Dead when it first started. And along the way, it kind of lost my interest, because I am much like a lot of people. I know I'm not the only one. I've discussed with plenty of people, and they've all said the same thing. I'm really tired of the zombies taking a back seat to humans being the next villain. Like, let's be honest, people. If we were all that terrible and we were ready to kill each other that quickly over anything, society would not be standing. The only reason laws and society is the way it is because we prefer it that way. So for The Walking Dead to constantly make any other living humans terrible people, I got kind of tired of it.
Yeah.
I wanted more zombie kill in there, you know? And Z Nation did it right. They were all about nothing but zombies. They had a few issues with people here and there, but for the most part, it was zombies. We sent them, you know, like one of my favorite lines is, "We were never at the Grand Canyon. Never been there. Been to Wisconsin? Did you see the giant wheel of cheese? Never been there. We were never there." It just answers all the questions you would think from a zombie apocalypse. They even deal with a nuclear power plant having a meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's more realistic for an apocalypse than any other show, and they still have a lot of fun and humor.
Yeah.
So I would like to see that come back, or I would even take a nice reboot and maybe start from the beginning of the apocalypse, because they started like after the apocalypse had already started and people had started establishing places.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind going back to see more of that. That was fun. Because quite frankly, I don't care if I'm alone in this. I'm tired of all of the Walking Dead spin-offs. There are too many of you. I can't keep track. There's like 6 to 12 mini web series that you have to watch in between things. And then there's like 4 spin-offs now. And stop it. It's too much. I just wanted to see the beginning of the apocalypse, like everybody's been asking for since you guys started the first season. We were supposed to get that with Fear the Walking Dead. We got 1 episode, and we spent most of it staring at a junkie.
You know,
That
I
was
want to
such a
know
letdown.
who's watching all of this stuff, because it seems that so many shows and movies that are just horrible and you're beating a dead horse, somehow they keep making them because people keep watching them, and everyone, you don't hear anyone ever say anything good about it. The people always complain about it, yet people are spending money on it. And who are these people? And they need to stop. They need to stop so we can get them to abandon those projects and make the good stuff again. Stop with The Walking Dead. Stop with Saw. Stop with all this crap. Get us something good.
Oh my God. Can we talk about Saw for a second? Why? Why is there another one? That man died
Yeah.
like 15 years ago. Why is he coming back again? And he looks even older now, obviously, because he is older. But
Mhm.
still, what? What? Let it go, man.
It's
Think
just
of anything else.
they're out of ideas. They're just out of ideas. The guy probably needs some money. He said, "Hey, I'll come back."
Well,
And
that's fine if they want to come out with another Saw, but whatever happened to the junkie that he I can't think of it, but you know which one I'm talking about, his original helper. Why not? You know
no,
what I'm saying? Or the doctor
it's
guy who ended up being his helper. There were like 20 helpers that have been introduced in these movies. Why is John still in it? We could have had the bajillion people he trained to take his place after the fact, but we still got John, who's been dead for 15 times.
see, and I disagree. It's not fine that they want to make another Saw movie. Just stop. Just stop. You should have ended movies ago. We're done. Put a pin in it.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah,
End it.
absolutely. Although I am excited they're doing 28 years later. It's a sequel to 28 Days Later,
Yep.
28 weeks or yeah, 28 days, 28 weeks, and now 28 years. I'm excited for that one. I hope it is as good as the other. Now, 28 days is the best.
Mhm.
28 weeks has some flaws, but it's still overall a pretty decent sequel. I'm excited because I really, really hope it's as good as the other two. And I've heard that some of the originals from the original 28 Days Later and some of the people from 28 Weeks Later that worked on it and
Mhm.
stuff, they'll be coming back. So I'm really hoping it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a zombie flick. You can't really mess it up too much, but as World War Z has proven, it is possible. So please don't put Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise. That's what we're asking.
That's what Perry loves it when they put all the sexy guys in these roles that have no you don't need a hunky guy for. It's his favorite. He wants to see the 6 pack of abs on a zombie there.
Okay, when they announced that they were making 28 Days, or I'm not sorry, when they announced they were making World War Z, I got excited. Sorry, he's riding the shoulder. Anyway, um, when they announced they were making World War Z, I got excited. It's a book. It's an amazing book.
Mhm.
If anyone hasn't read the book, I'll do a quick summary of it. I can't give it away. There's no way to give it away. The book itself, it's different. It's not a cohesive book. It's not like chapter by chapter type thing. The whole thing is you get files from military bases, doctors. You get written out radio. Uh, Sort I'm looking for. But there's different people writing every couple of pages. You get like a report from different people all over the world. It's not just a couple of people. It's every it's an anthology essentially. It's you get 3 to 4 pages of, let's say a army general talking about being in the Middle East and dealing with some kind of new disease and violence. And then after those couple of pages, you go to, you're over in, you're dealing with a Marine who's over, here dealing with this. And then you've got Chinese government official records. And it's a good book because it's not one person constantly filling you with nonsense. You're going all over the place. So you get a real feel of, oh, this is the apocalypse. Because you even get text messages printed out on pages from people, talking to their loved ones and whatnot. So it gives you an idea of what's going on all over, not just one place. And my issue with the movie was it was all based on one guy's family and then his doing things and going around. And you know what I mean? I felt like it focused too much on one person.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt's pretty and all, but that's not. He's like 2 pages in the book. His family's not mentioned.
Yeah.
Why did I need to watch 20 minutes of his kid forgetting an inhaler? You know what I mean? Like, it was just, there was so much filler in there. It was unnecessary.
Yeah.
I would have much rather have seen the sporadic jumping to different groups to see how they're handling and dealing with things.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wish and they're supposed to be doing a second one. If they do the second one, I hope it's more like that, because that's what people that read the book, that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
the problem though is I don't know. People just watch crappy things. Frank said it's all the people that they'll watch. Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Medical, Chicago this, Chicago that. These people just you consume every crappy remake of everything. So then movie studios go, great. They don't care if it's good or it's bad. If it's making money, as far as they're concerned, it's good. And then the rest of us are just stuck with it. And I think that people, they're going to go see a Brad Pitt movie, whether it's a crappy movie or not. They're like, yay, Brad Pitt, let me go. I don't even know who's this generation's Brad Pitt. I don't even know who the
I hate
punk
to say
is
it,
right
but
now.
you're right. But no, Brad Pitt will be. It's like Tom Cruise. Any movie that those two guys are in, people are going to flock to go see it. It's like The Mummy. The Mummy was that was the worst mummy movie I have ever seen in my entire life. And I've watched a lot of mummy movies, and I would rather watch the Boris Karloff black and white one is 1,000 times better than that nonsense bullshit. That time, the whole movie was it was a Tom Cruise movie with a side character of a mummy. It was like I was excited to see a female mummy for the first time. I was like, oh, this is a nice, unique difference, and like I was interested to see, her why. Because they're always going to touch on the a little bit of a why. So I was like, oh, this is going to be exciting. I'm excited to see a female villain, as one of the main monsters, because it was supposed to be part of the dark universe for Universal. And I was like, this is going to be great. No, we got a Tom Cruise movie. No, it was so dumb. It wasn't a mummy movie. And then they set it up to where we were going to have Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and it was a Dracula Untold all over again. Tanked. No way. And now they're coming out with they're going to be doing a Dracula with Keanu Reeves in it as I think Dracula. No, I love Keanu Reeves, and he was good in the original Bram Stoker's Dracula from the 90s. His accent was terrible. But I don't know how I feel about him playing Dracula. I
hope he shaves his scruffy ass beard.
He's a good actor, and I like him in a lot of things. I just don't see him as Dracula. He's not what I picture as Dracula.
Yeah.
There are a few other guys I can much more... Like, even when they did Dracula Untold, the guy they cast, I can't think of who it was, but the guy they cast to play Dracula in that, he fit the role. He's beautiful. He had that nice dark look to him. Like, perfect for the role. So if they were to say, oh, we're bringing him back, okay, fine. He wasn't the problem in the movie. The storyline was the problem with the movie.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that it was that terrible. It's just, again, they took too long on some things that they shouldn't have and didn't show enough of what they should have.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I'm excited to see when they announce, oh, we're going to do a Frankenstein movie, because I want to know who they're going to make Frankenstein's monster. I hope it's like
going to be sexy.
I want the guy that played the Mountain on Game of Thrones, because he's like 7'4" or something like that. Now that guy would be perfect. Who cares what he looks like? He looks like he's not that bad looking, but with the makeup and stuff, I'm sure he'd be, with the size. The size is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I did see when he was supposed to be like the dead guy on Game of Thrones, and he looked. So yeah, he'd be a good Frankenstein, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, though. Not holding my breath on that one.
So I'm afraid to ask. Dreadpool said Chicago rules. I'm just going to assume that this is something non-PG related because he said New York has Italian tacos. I don't know if I really want to know the answer to that one. I don't know if I really want to know. And then RWK said he wants to see John Wick take out Art the fucking Clown.
You know what? I would hate that myself, to be honest. RWK. And Dredd was talking about apparently Chicago folds their. No, New York folds their pizzas like tacos.
You're saying that you're saying the way that we eat pizzas like Italian tacos?
Yeah.
You don't fold the whole thing and eat it like a taco at all.
It's called a calzone.
No, it's not. No, it's not because you don't fold it. That's the whole thing. You have a crease so you could pick up a slice and eat it, but you don't fold it all the way. You don't eat it like a calzone. Oh, Back says Chicago definitely has better pizza. I'm good. New York pizza all the way.
We've argued about who has the best pizza all the way, and even though, like, obviously in Florida people always like, oh, we have Chicago, we have New York style. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but unless you're in Chicago or New York, or those people are actually importing their water to make their dough with, it's the water is what makes those doughs New York and Chicago style. The water has a lot to do with it. And yeah, down here, it can say New York style all at once. It's usually just overly thick crust.
See,
it's
that's
not
just
that fluffy.
That's the opposite in New York. In New York, you need a nice, thin, crisp crust, but not like thin crust.
I'm not a big fan of thin crust. I like regular crust.
It's a normal crust, but it's on like the thin side. It's not like I hate thick crust, and I don't know, Chicago pizza. It's like that's like a calzone without a lid on it. It's like a pot pie with no topping. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd eat it. Trust me, but yeah, Frank said it's all the delicious pollution in our water.
I concur.
It is all the reservoir water.
That's funny. That's too funny.
So who's Art the Clown? Is that the guy from with the ice cream truck and the clown guy? Is that who?
No, Art the Clown is. No, Art the Clown is originally from an anthology movie called All Hallows Eve. He started off with a short story in that. He's just a psychotic killer who dresses as a clown.
Okay.
And
so a normal
because
clown.
he was, yeah, because since he was such, he dresses in black and white. All his outfits in just black and white, and he has like a little daisy hanging off his hat. And because he was such a fan favorite from the anthology, and people just went wild over his character, I guess, they decided to go ahead and make a full-length feature film for him. And I actually interviewed the director. It's on our 4GQ channel. You can go back and find it. I'm not sure when we did it. I think we interviewed him right before the second one was released.
Yes.
Yeah, right before the second one was released. So it's been a while. But because he was such a popular character, they said, let's do a full-length film on him. And that went over so fantastically and people loved it. They made another one, and because that one has done so well, they've now made and released the third one. He's it's a lot of gore. He does not talk, just like most, he's eventually going to become a classic, just like Freddy and Michael and all of them. He doesn't talk. He smiles creepily and then kind of turns his head and stuff and then, proceeds to torture, butcher. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. A lot of people like him. I was actually kind of surprised how many young kids I saw dressed like him. I really hope their parents, some of these kids were really young. Like, I'm talking like 8. Now, I know I watched horror movies when I was a kid, and I let my kid watch horror movies, but that Art the Clown's not one of those movies I would let my kid watch just yet, just because it's a little
This
much.
guy. I know who this. Okay, I've never seen any of these movies, but now that I see what he looks like, I know who he is.
Yeah, in one of
His
the
little
movies.
hat.
Yeah, in one of the movies, he even has a little girl. I think it's his daughter, and she dresses just like him. In one of the movies, I think it's the second movie.
I absolutely love how clowns wear those little tiny hats. It cracks me up. I'm such a simple person. Things that are like how they have gigantic shoes and like little tiny hats. I just think that's, to me, it's peak comedy. I love it so much.
See, because I do the haunted trail thing, I have a thing with clowns. I'm not scared of clowns. I don't dislike. I like clowns. I have no problem with clowns. You will never see me dress up as a clown, and you will never see a clown on one of my trails that I put there on purpose. We had a couple of teenagers volunteer for us this year, and we did have 2 of them showed up dressed as clowns. And I was like, I wish I would have known you guys were coming over here. I would have put you in something different because, sweetheart, clowns do not fit with. We did a swamp bog witch voodoo theme, and I'm like, sweetheart,
How do clowns fit in? Yeah.
do not fit with this at all, my love. But it's fine. It is. I'll take the body. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I just feel because so many people are scared of clowns, it's low hanging fruit to me.
Yeah.
I like to mess with people's minds. We do have some jump scares. We do jump scares, but I'm more about messing with somebody's mind. And while I may not, I've had people tell me, and they're like, when I was in front of you and you were talking to me and stuff, it didn't really bother me. But as I continued walking through the trail and stuff, and I started thinking about what you were saying, it really started to mess with me. And then I've seen people, I chase them, I'll like walk a shortcut and meet them at the end or something, and then it'll just ruin their night.
Yeah.
Good times to be had. Good times to be had.
A few years ago, we had it went on like all summer that people were reporting people were dressing up as clowns. And this may have been like across the whole country. I don't remember. The people would dress up as clowns, and they would just like stand there and stare at people. So like there are all these random clown sightings, but I don't know why people are getting so freaked out. Like I get if like it's midnight and the clown's like in your front yards during your window, okay, be freaked out. But if in the middle of the day there's a clown just chilling on the side of the road, who really cares? Right? Why are you gonna panic?
I had this thing. I was actually kind of hoping that I would like run into one of these clowns. Because I was like, it always entertains me when you get people who pretend they're crazy or pretend that they want to be violent, and then they meet someone who is. But part of the problem why people were so freaked out about the clowns is some of them were actually chasing people.
Oh yeah, so it's
and
messed
trying
up.
to hurt
Yeah.
them. Yeah. I don't think anyone actually got hurt by the clowns. I think a few people might have fallen and hurt themselves, but it was more or less because some of the clowns were chasing them in the middle of in dark places and stuff.
Yeah.
And all I could think is, I never get to have any of these fun moments. Everyone always gets to have all this fun around me. It's like during COVID and stuff, while people were having issues with people, starting fights and stuff in the stores and, being rude to employees and everything. And I'm like, I never get to have this kind of fun. The closest I got was there was a woman at restaurant I was at with my daughter one day. We stopped at Arby's to get milkshakes and cookies, you know, girl stuff. And while we had actually gone into the store because I figured, we got time. Let's just go in. No need to go through drive-through. And this woman, when we got there, was at the front at the register, yelling at this girl couldn't have been more than 16. Like she looked real young. And this woman is just launching into her about this food not being out quick enough and why is it taking so long and da 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 da. So I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like listening to it for a minute, waiting for her to let up, and she doesn't. So finally, I told my daughter, I said, go have a seat. I'll be there in a second. She said, okay. So I'm going to order our stuff. And she goes, okay. So I walked up right next to the lady, looked at her and said, if you don't mind, I'd like to order now. And she's like, can't you see? And I said, no, I can see you. I just don't care. Move.
That's perfect.
You're done. All you're doing is complaining. And then the girl brought her food and stuff. And this woman had a tissue in her hand that she had been blowing her nose on. She decided to leave it on the counter.
Ew.
So I called her back over. I said, excuse me, ma'am, you left something here. You might want to come get it. And she looked at it and went, no, it's just garbage. I said, yeah, it's your garbage. Nobody's here to pick it up for you. Go ahead. And I said, garbage can's right there at the door where you're getting ready to walk out. She went ahead and dropped it on the edge of the garbage can. I looked at her and said, don't worry, sweetie. I'll get it for you. Don't worry. Have the night you deserve, baby. Have the... Ugh. Some people are just rude for no reason. That's about the only fun I ever got.
There are some people, like, they just need to stay inside their house and not go in society. So who you would love to see then is in our area, there's some guy. He has different things he dresses up as. He'll wear like the Scream mask. He'll dress as the Joker. He'll dress as Death with the big, what's the thing called that you carry on the post? Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And he stands, so there's a main road, and it's a 6-lane road, so it has a paved median. He stands in the median and just flips cars off as they drive by. So he dresses up a costume just to give people the finger. He's been doing this for years, and you could tell, like, new people to the area call the cops on him, but he's not doing anything wrong. So nothing ever happens to him, and everybody knows him, and it's just great.
That's my kind of guy right there. That's one of the things I love so much about doing my trail. I have way too much fun at people's expense because, everybody has met those parents and those kids that just need to be talked down to and need to be put in place every once in a while. And because my characters are always supposed to be mean, I had a great time this year. Anytime a kid was just mean and just rude and just you could tell they were not good kids and the parents were not parenting, I'd look right at the parents, look right at the kids and say, continue. I've always enjoyed watching bad parenting happening in front of me. I don't get to see it very often, so please continue. I'm always interested in seeing how it's done. And then I look at the kids and tell them, keep running your mouth, keep talking, please, please, please do. It lets everyone know where you are and that you're coming. I have no problem telling parents you're doing. I honestly thought I would get a couple of complaints. I was surprised. Nobody actually even tried to correct me or say anything. None of the parents even got mad about it. And it's like, yeah, well, I guess we know.
That is surprising, but I guess sometimes you just shame people and they just keep their mouth shut because they know it's true.
Well, I mean, and it's not like I don't like random kids. I do, because there were plenty of well-behaved, adorable kids that would come through. And I had little plastic spiders I was given to the ones I liked.
Yeah.
And I'd stop and talk to them for a few minutes. And, the ones that come through and they're real scared and, they're, horrified already, I give them a little pep talk and tell them, you've heard the story of Little Red Riding Hood, huh? Do you know what the moral of that story is, sweetie? And I had a couple kids go, no, what is it? It's to stay on the path. You stay on the path, nothing bad happens to you. It's when you wander off the path that you get eaten by creatures. And parents loved it. They were like, yeah. I had it cracks me up because some of the parents come through because they know their kids aren't well behaved all the time or that they're
Yeah.
just being a little pain and they'll tell me their kids' names. That's so and so. Yeah. So I will literally like tell the other characters throughout the house,
Yeah.
like, hey, this one's name is Chris. Get him.
Yeah.
Get him. So fun. So fun. Good
Oh.
time.
Oh.
It always impresses me though, the kids that are not well behaved. And I'm always surprised their parents take them out and do because these things, taking them anywhere is not cheap.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine taking my misbehaved child anywhere. And what kills me is these are going to be the same ones who, 10 years from now talk about, I don't like my kids.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if you spent time with them and you hung out with them, you'd like them. Like, I love my kid. I think she's amazing. We are not friends right now because I am her mother and she is a child. But eventually, someday, she's going to be my friend. I'll always be her mom. But, I like my kid. I wanted to raise a person that I wanted to hang out with.
Yeah.
And that's what you should do as a parent. You should raise the person you like.
I know it amazes me that when people complain about like, oh, this generation does this and this generation does that, and it's like, wait a second, you raised that generation. What are you complaining about? You did it.
Say that all the time. It's like years ago when people were always getting on millennials. So, I mean, back in the early 2000s and stuff, all we ever heard was millennial this, millennial that. And it's like, who raised you? Who
Yeah.
raised us? Who do you think raised us? You think we're terrible. Who raised us? And now we've got another batch. We've messed up. We took it too far. We wanted to be heard and our feelings to be appreciated. Gen X wanted their feelings heard and appreciated. We took it way too far. I had to laugh. One of the kids,
Stuff it back in the bottle. We don't want to hear it.
one weekend, one night, we had some teenage volunteers come over. First time I had met these kids. And they were like between the ages of 15 to 17. And one guy comes over and he's introducing him to me and he's telling him, that's who you're going to go to if you need anything. She's in charge, whatever. Listen to her. And then he goes, and don't worry, it's a safe space. You can talk to her about anything. And I looked at him and went, safe space? Sweetheart, you got the wrong generation. There ain't nothing safe about me.
Yeah.
We don't
You
do
met me?
safe spaces. Oh, you got me confused, sweetheart. But I had to laugh because the kids were thinking funny. They were like, oh, that's funny. I'm like, yeah, no, sweetheart. I hate to tell you, I'm not your safe space. They were laughing. They thought it was funny. They were like, yeah, that figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I am
Okay.
walking back into the house so I can get on the computer in just a second. Check me out. Everybody can stare at my chin for a minute. So in case anyone's wondering, this is what I look like with absolutely zero makeup on.
You still look great.
know.
Don't worry.
Thank you. I don't even look my age yet. But, all right, let me, I'm going to grab a drink before I sit down.
Okay. So the one benefit to the fact that Halloween is over is all the Halloween candy is on sale right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely went the other day to CVS and had to go get candy and snacks and then I was intrigued because like I love Peeps and Peeps finally got smart and a few years ago they started making because Peeps was only just for Easter, right? They had the chicks and the bunnies. Then they started making shapes for every holiday, which of course you should. Like why we could eat Peeps all year round, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we went the other day, they're putting out all the Christmas candy, fine. They have Thanksgiving candy, and I don't think I've ever seen that before. So they had, you could get like at Halloween. I don't even know what you get at Halloween, what shape chocolate you get. Like Easter you get a chocolate bunny. Halloween, I don't know. Do you just get a circle for a pumpkin? I don't know. You get like a
it's
chocolate
pumpkin.
Santa. They had a chocolate turkey, and I was like, this is hilarious, but it was actually kind of funny. And I was like, why not make Thanksgiving themed candy? I'm here for it.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to switch to the computer now. So I'll be right back, guys.
Yep.
Don't worry. If I can figure out. Aha.
Okay. I hope she could come back in because I don't have the same controls on my screen that she does. But so just like a Halloween, I said that they needed more candy corn items. Who cares about pumpkin? Get rid of that crap. I wanted candy corn, everything. Now that we're going into Christmas season, we need eggnog flavored everything. Target is giving us eggnog with cream, but that's my hope for Christmas candy.
In the back. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, David R. was saying, wasn't there Pepsi Peeps or Peep Pepsi? There was Peep flavored Pepsi, not called Peepsy, which they should have. But yes, there was Peeps flavored Pepsi. Now I have to say, I love sugar. Like, give me Pixie Sticks, give me everything. Peeps flavored Pepsi was so sugary, it wasn't even funny. It came in mini cans, and I'm glad because a mini can is like all you could handle. I know how you drink more of that. Yes, I love her. Frank said it's the Pickles cast. Since I was alone for like 30 seconds. RWK agrees with me. Candy corn is fire. It is. I love candy corn.
I could eat a little bit of it. I gotta be in the mood. It's one of those things. This is what I hate when this thing. Can't tell what I'm doing. I am wearing my death shirt.
Nice.
So proud of it. Yeah. Oh, shit.
See, I'll eat candy corn all year. I want candy corn. Give me circus peanuts. Give me eggnog. I want it all.
Okay, see, I draw the line at circus peanuts. I do not do circus peanuts.
Oh, they're so good.
Unless I'm absolutely desperate for some candy and there's nothing around, but that has only happened like once in my life. I will eat them sporadically. Like I might eat one or two if somebody else has them, but I won't buy them. However, candy corn, I will eat some candy corn. Just like I said, got to be in the mood for it.
I love the taste of circus peanuts. I love the texture of circus peanuts. Oh, I eat them all year round. I'll buy them anytime.
I'm just glad that Peeps has finally gotten into releasing them for other holidays. They're now releasing them for Valentine's Day, and I saw Halloween ones.
I had Frankenstein Peeps.
I saw Frankenstein and ghosts and pumpkins.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they already have Christmas trees and stockings are already out in the store. I wonder if they're going to have turkey ones.
They did. Yeah. They did Peeps for Christmas last year, though. I did see a couple of those last year, so that's nice. It's always fun. You can't go wrong with. You know what I want them to bring back? The Lifesavers books.
Yes. I was talking about those at work the other day because someone he's a few years younger than me, but he never had one. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's the only time of the year you ever need to buy Lifesavers is you buy the little storybook.
Oh, no. We used to get them for all kinds of holidays, but my mom, that was the one guaranteed candy we got.
Yes.
Always. And she bought them for us for years. It wasn't until like a couple of years ago that they stopped making them. And she was so bummed out because, like I said, Mom always gives them to us. You know, listen, for those who don't know, I don't know if I've talked about it on this show or not. I have quite a few younger siblings. I am the oldest of a lot. And my mom, while we are all grown and adults, my mom does still like to buy us toys and candy, and I have no problems or complaints. I've never once complained about it. In fact, my daughter and I have had to argue about it because my mom bought me a set of My Little Ponies, and there was like 6 of them, and my daughter tried to claim them. I was like, no. I was playing with these way before you were even thought of, child. I used to carry these around when I was 5. I used to hold them by the tail so I could hold like 20 of them. Good times. By the way, you can still do that. If you hold them all by the tail, you can hold like 20 of them in each hand, even little itty bitty hands. So, but yeah, she was bummed. And I'm bummed because I looked forward to my Lifesavers books from Mom. That was guaranteed candy. Like, it's a bummer.
Perry's mom, we always get the little mesh bag with the chocolate gold coins in it. So he said he's gotten them for like 30 years. So now I get them too. And it always annoys him. But, oh, she loves it. Yeah, that's the one thing you're going to count on. Even if, like, instead of giving us gifts, we get a card with the universal gift. Yeah, we always get our little bag of gold coins there.
My mom gets me. I get the bag of gold coins for St. Patrick's Day. Because we're Irish.
Yep.
So I get that. Yeah, I get that. And then I also have to make sure that, well, now that I have my own child, we set up a leprechaun trap. So Mom makes sure that I remember to set up the leprechaun trap, and I have everything I need for the leprechaun trap.
Yeah.
It will come over at midnight if I do not have everything I need for that leprechaun trap, because by golly gee, we're doing the leprechaun. I can understand. We have, because Dreadpool's Greek, we do a lot of the Greek traditions and things. So my mom wants to make sure that we keep up with the family, the Irish traditions as well, which I absolutely okay with as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
We're much more entertaining. We like potatoes.
I once got a potato cookbook, and at first I thought, man, this is kind of stupid, but let me tell you, that was an amazing cookbook.
Speaking of cookbooks,
absolutely amazing.
One of my good friends, actually, for my birthday, I thought it was the sweetest thing ever. She got me it's a cookbook that talks about different haunted houses around the country. And it's got recipes to do like each house. It's so cool. I'm like, oh, I cannot wait. This is going to be great. And they're not all like, you know how normally when you hear like haunted recipes, you're always thinking like weird stuff, like, the flesh arm thing. And, but there's like pot roast. And there's normal dishes.
Like, like real food.
Yes, this I can get into. This is my friend. That's why I like weird things. Certain foods that if they look too much, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm one of those people. I know. I've had friends who, for a Halloween party, she got so excited because she knew we were coming. She put one of those meat heads together. It was like for like a charcuterie tray thing. You put all the meat on a skull so it looked like you were and she's like, oh, I'm like, it looks great. And she's like, are you gonna eat? And I'm like, no, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. I have a thing with food. I also don't like food touching each other, so
I am the same way. I always say if my food touches, it's contaminated. I don't want my food together. My ideal world is a world with divider plates, because don't let my food touch. Everything has its place. And I absolutely despise when you go, like, we went to Hibachi last week. So the guy put, the rice on my plate, but he just plops it in the middle. So I push it all over to a nice little space, and then I rotate my plate. So right in front of him is the nice empty space so he could put the food. He kept putting all the food, like, so it was slightly overlapping. And I was just like, oh my God, please don't you see that I have a nice, like, I've cleared 2/3 of the plate for you, man. Put the food where there's nothing.
I get it. Yeah. No, Mom one year made me a kitty litter cake for my birthday.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Everyone at this point is familiar with kitty litter cakes.
Yep.
Obviously, she made it properly. She made it from, and she put it in a fresh, clean, washed it all out and everything. Yep. And I still, I
couldn't do it.
I felt so bad because she made it. She went through all this effort to make me this birthday cake, and I'm like, what's even funnier is that Mom doesn't eat cake, but she makes amazing cakes. It's so funny. She bakes like nobody's business, but she doesn't eat most of it. She made this kitty litter cake, and she was so proud, and I was like, this is awesome. And I looked at another friend and I'm like, I'm going to need you to go ahead and take my piece and just scrape everything off the top, icing and everything. And she's like, really? I'm like, I just want the cake underneath. I just want the actual cake itself. And she's like, are you sure? She's like, I thought you liked that. And mom's going, I used your favorite icing. I like cream cheese frosting. She said, I used your favorite icing and everything. And then there's Tootsie Rolls. And I'm like, I know. I love you. I really appreciate it. But you know how I am about the looks of things. I can't do it. I'm sorry. But I ate my kitty litter cake with all of the frosting.
Yeah.
Well, that one I could eat just fine. I didn't have a problem with that one. That was a different story. Oh, okay. He wants me to tell you guys quite a few years back now, Dreadpool and mom and one of my sisters had decided they had planned a surprise party for me. It was a zombie surprise party. I walked into a bunch of zombies attacking. I was bear hugged. Everybody was concerned I was going to do something, so I got put in a bear hug, and it was good times. They made sure everybody would be safe. I can applaud that. I appreciate that. But Dreadpool had come up with an idea of doing a graveyard cake, a cemetery cake. So they actually dug out a piece of it to look like a grave had been dug out, and they had tombstones on it and skeletons coming out of it. And it was an awesome cake, amazing cake. He wanted me to mention the awesome cake because he had a hand in helping design it and make it. So he's proud of that. And it was a cool cake. It really was. It was an awesome
that
cake.
is. That sounds good. I like the detail of digging up the little piece for the freshly dug grave. That was good.
Yeah. And this was before cemetery cakes became a thing.
Yeah.
This was, like I said, years ago before all that stuff became popular. Yeah, very much trendsetters. Leave it to the family.
Yep.
But
see, I want to do all that fun stuff. Like I would love to like throw a Halloween party and make like the cool board with the everything, the shape of skulls, but then I'd actually have to like clean my house to invite people over, and that's just a lot of work, and I'm not going to do it. So
we used to have a lot of parties. Don't have them much here anymore. I usually do because I got to clean the house before everybody gets here, and then after everybody leaves, I've got to clean all over again, and it's just too much work. On me.
Yeah.
And we actually have a state park near us that rents cabins.
Okay.
It's like $100 less than $100 to rent a cabin for the weekend, and that's Friday to Sunday, and it's like I'll do that instead. And not to mention I got all this parking. I don't have if everybody wants because the cabins sleep like I think 12. So if everybody wants to have drinks and feel free to pass out in the cabin.
Yep. That's the way to do it.
It works well. Or mom also one of the moms has a couple of acres, so we've done parties over there as well. So, again, for pretty much the same reason. It's outside, don't really have to clean much. So, and again, if everybody drinks, they can pass out in their cars or pitch a tent in the yard. I don't care. Or just, hey, fall asleep on the trampoline with a blanket. It's your problem, not mine. We do live in Florida, so luckily you won't freeze to death and lose any fingers or toes. So there.
Well, I don't know, you might fingers and toes when an alligator comes and bites them off.
Yeah, we don't normally have those in our yards too often. And for a gator to come into mom's yard would be quite a feat because there aren't really any gators by her house. She doesn't have ponds that close to her. She's got a few creeks. They're not deep enough for gators or crocs or anything. Your biggest issue in mom's yard, there's a couple of turkeys that like to come and hang out. And she's got some deers that like to hang out in the yard. But, and then we've got a screeching owl, which is protected. So, good times. They sound like somebody's doing a quick, high-pitched squeal at the top of their lungs. It's so funny. So cute, though. And they're like this big.
Oh, they're little.
They're so little. And they have this, like Oh, it's so funny to listen to. It's like, yeah, there he goes. We can hear him. He's home, and they're protected, so nothing we can do about it. We
Yeah.
just hang out.
You're stuck with them.
Well, there's also a few other owls in the area too, which is nice. So it's always cool to see the wildlife in the area. Considering we're not exactly in the boonies,
Mhm.
it's nice to see the animals around.
Yeah. Not for me. I'll stay indoors.
They are more afraid of you
indoors.
than you are of them.
I'm not so sure about that. I guess it depends on what type of animal it is.
Well, honestly, I've lived here for a long time. And quite frankly, I have come up against alligators in like the ponds and stuff because we go swimming. We used to go down the river and stuff, and you would find them. They are on the rivers and what have you. They don't care. Snapping turtles really aren't even much of a concern unless they're hungry. And usually those are kind of a giveaway when they're in the area, and they're usually in ponds, in lakes. You stay away from them. But gators and crocs, they genuinely don't care. They could care less.
Bugs, birds, animals,
The
wildlife,
birds are never a problem.
reptiles.
We don't have an issue with the birds at all. It's not like Australia. We do not have birds, diving at our heads on a regular basis. So that's a bonus. Bugs aren't really too big of an issue. The only time you really ever see them inside is when it's raining a lot.
Says the person who got bit by fire ants and by chiggers this year. Bugs aren't that big of an issue.
But I was in the middle of the woods, and we figured out how I ended up getting the chiggers, though. That was because they had torn down some trees and stuff to clear out some space, and they had put it all into one pile, like a little mountain. Yeah, I was in the middle of bouncing on that mountain and messing with it. That's how I got my trigger. Otherwise, I would never even have come into contact with them.
Yeah.
The fire ants, yeah, that was my own fault for not looking down. Should have done that. Most people should look down. When they know there's ants in the area, you probably should. It wasn't like it was the only ant pile in the area. That was my mistake. That was me not paying attention because there were several other large ant piles nearby, and I knew there were more. I just wasn't. I was too busy trying to clean Tiny Giant off because she stepped in it first, and I thought she had walked out of it already. I didn't know that it was right there that we. Yeah, it was just an unfortunate event. But
see, you know what doesn't have alligators or owls or fire ants or chiggers? My house doesn't have any of that.
My house doesn't have any of that stuff either inside.
Stay inside.
No, staying inside. Yeah, well, nothing's inside.
I would. Yeah, I'm not sleeping outside. Not for me.
But you guys got snow. I don't want to do snow. I'd rather deal with hurricanes. And we do still have some areas that are flooded, believe it or not. When we were driving out the other day, we saw a couple of neighborhoods that are still flooded. I feel bad for them.
My friend's been down there for like a week and a half because she's volunteer with the Red Cross. So she's down there, and she did say quite a few people this weekend ended up leaving the shelter. So I'm hoping they went home or they had to find other regions where to go.
Yeah, there was a bunch of houses that actually the water did go down, but there's still a few, and it's actually going to be turning into probably a class action lawsuit. Supposedly, there's an area where a lake had been dammed off because it is contaminated. And the state did not warn, because the police and things are supposed to warn people in the area, hey, there's a flood, especially if it's toxic water from a lake that they had, dammed, or a pond they had dammed off. And they didn't until like a day or two later, after it had already flooded. And there's a couple of neighborhoods that not only were flooded with water they shouldn't have been because they released the water from the lake with, because the dam couldn't hold it. They were afraid it was going to break, so I guess they just went ahead and opened it.
Yeah.
They let contaminated water
Yeah.
into some of these some of these neighborhoods. So the people are not happy. If what I understand, they're going to be doing lawsuits on some people. And also, there's a commercial going around stating that if your house was flooded during these last two hurricanes because of too much development in the area, because they've been building too fast and there's nowhere for the water, because concrete doesn't absorb water, you might be eligible to join the lawsuit. And I'm like,
so how long
fighting with them about trying not to, they were just trying to con us into letting them build on some of the Everglades, and it's
well, it's the thing is a lot of these decisions have long-term consequences, and you got to make sure that it's more than just, do you want to deal with the development and the people? It's that you could be affecting the people who live there. So how long ago did they dam up this pond that's contaminated? Was this like recently, or is this a while ago?
I'm honestly not sure. This is the first time I've heard about this particular pond.
Because I would think that you would have to clean it, because there's a pond near us. Or I guess it's a lake. I don't know, pond, lake, whatever it is, that was contaminated with the foam from when there's a fire at the airport, and the foam that they spray. So that foam contaminated the lake. So they had to do something to make it, so all the water stayed in and it didn't like overflow. But then they drained it, or mostly drained. So I don't know what the heck they did with the water. I have no clue where it went. But they mostly drained it, so this way they could dredge out the bottom to like get rid of, I guess, everything, all the soil that would have soaked up the stuff. But like they had to do tons of work to treat it, so now then they could refill it back up, and it's not contaminated. And then, I can't imagine if they would have just left it there and been like, well, nothing we could do. Let's just seal it up.
As much as you would think they would clean it up, it's not even just Florida. It's an all over the country thing. If we're not paying attention and making them do it, they don't. I mean, I'm pretty sure I talked about it on here. There's a lake in Michigan that, to this day, I could not describe the smell, but there's a very distinctive smell, and it's because of the factories and the runoff into that water, and it's just, it'll never end. Yeah.
But you're right. If no one pays attention, the people just do whatever until someone catches them. And then by the time you ever find it, do you know who did it? Can you prove it? Is there somebody that you could go back to and say, hey, clean this up? Or is it just now the town's on the hook for it and the town doesn't have the money to do it?
Well, look at Flint, Michigan. They contaminated the water source there, and all these years later, but they also had plenty of water brought in that they never actually gave to people. They've got those urban explorers that have found multiple buildings with cases upon cases. I mean,
which is a shame, because people need it, because people still don't have drinkable water. Like, it's not like there was nobody who needed it. So they have people who need it. It's just they never got it, which is a real shame that these people, the help was there, they didn't get it.
I'll be honest, as soon as I heard about the contaminated issue in Michigan, it gave me pause and made me worry. We didn't live that close, but we weren't that far either. And all I think is, oh my God, I'm glad we left. Like, I miss it at times because there was some cool stuff, but
Back said it's all the bodies that the Chicago mob dumped in Lake Michigan.
I mean, I wish I could say that was the problem, but the decaying bodies don't cause three-eyed fish. So, not to mention,
they cause other problems, though.
Universal Studios. This will tell you how contaminated the lake is. Universal Studios one year did a haunted house where they did, it was a sewer plant. You were walking into the sewers, and it was mutated animals and creatures and stuff, right? Now, on the outside, they had a sewage sign. The outside of the sewage sign said, Wyandotte Sewage Company. Wyandotte is a real place in Michigan. Wyandotte Sewage Company is a real thing. I must have stood there for about 15 minutes at the front of the line taking pictures and laughing my absolute ass off. And the people behind me were like, what's so funny about that? So I'm explaining to them, like, this is a real place. It's absolutely contaminated. I can't help but think whoever designed the house this year is from Michigan or went there and lived there for a while or something.
Yeah.
There's no other way. Like, come on. And it's not like it was just a coincidence. It was spelled perfectly. It actually had the symbol. It was like, yeah, okay, we know where you've been thinking, my friend. So it was just so surreal and so funny. Like, I have the picture somewhere, and I keep saying, I'm like, I have to find that picture because that's like one of the best pictures ever. No one.
Yeah.
How ironic. Who would think you're going to go to a haunted house at a major theme park?
Yeah.
And see a reference here. Hey! Good times. Good times. But you know, us not recycling is the problem, folks. Remember that.
Yeah.
You not recycling and taking longer than 20-minute showers, we're the problem. We're the reason the world is dying. Has nothing at all to do with, you know, the most of it's on fire.
Yeah.
It's us and not recycling your paper plate. How dare you? Oh my gosh. But, well, I think it is about time to roll off. It is getting late, and we've been on for almost 2 hours at this point. So, good show.
Yes, and thank you to everyone in the chat. So we had, who do we have? We had Perry, we had Dreadpool, RWK, Timmy, Axel stopped in, Frank was here, back for the dead's here with his Chicago mob knowledge. David R was here. Yeah, so thank you. I think I got everybody. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I'm scrolling through and I just missed you. But no, thank you for the great chat, everybody.
Thank you so much. And again, sorry guys, I couldn't see most of the night, but I tried. I will be here for you.
Yes.
But until next week, I will be back on Iconic Video Games next Friday. So woohoo!
Yeah.
And of course, next Sunday we'll be back here as well.
Yep.
And actually, I'm doing a guest spot on somebody else's podcast. I'm going to be on Ferocious Feast show on Friday at, I believe it's 6 or 6:30. Not sure.
Okay.
I'll put it on Twitter or somewhere.
Yes. Yeah, we'll have to tune in. It'll be good to see you back on Iconic Video Games.
I know.
A couple weeks ago, I thought I was going to win the game, and I didn't. And, and it was even on my own. I didn't have Perry feeding me the answers, but came in second. It was still fun, though.
It always is. Hey,
Yes.
you've missed some of the nights. There's some nights, Doggy and I, we just tank. And it's just fun. It's hysterical because we make jokes the whole time. Oh, yeah, I'll tank every once in a while.
Yeah.
If I get it wrong, I make it funny at least.
Yeah.
But, well, thank you, everybody, for showing up. We appreciate you guys in the chat as always. Thank you so much for your support and all of your patience, because I know most of me was darkly lit and somewhat noisy. So I appreciate you dealing.
No, it was still fun. Yes, thank you, everyone, for hanging out. Thanks for participating in the chat.
Yes, and thank Miss Pink Piggles for being the amazing person she is and so patient and understanding and ready to roll with whatever I needed to tonight. She should definitely get a round of applause. She's fantastic. So
whatever you need, I'm just here for the fun. So.
All right, guys. Well, good night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back next Sunday. So have a good night. And I'm Death Dealer.
And I'm Pink Pickles.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
You're gonna have to end. I don't have it on this one.
Well, right before we end it, I just want to say we got a $1.99 super chat from RWK, Fire Show Ladies. So thank you so much, RWK. We
Thank
appreciate
you. Yeah,
So-
thank you, RWK. I can't see much of anything right now,
it. Yep.
so I apologize.
No,
Thank
it
you.
came in right before we hit the button. So thank you. All right, we'll see you next week, everyone. Bye.
Bye.